In a twist of fate, I met Charlotte under tragic circumstances. Hurricane Katrina had devastated her life, taking her husband and their home. The news was filled with heartbreaking stories, and although I was deeply concerned, I never imagined that my life would soon intersect with hers in such a profound way. On a regular Sunday, I found myself in church, unaware of the unexpected encounter awaiting me. Our church had become a refuge for many families affected by the hurricane. The pastor's call for volunteers to provide temporary shelter to these families struck a chord with me. At first, the idea of opening my home to strangers was daunting, but as the pastor spoke, he shed light on a truth I hadn't realized. Many of us, including me, are often away from home due to work, leaving our houses empty most of the time. The pastor's words resonated with me because my new job as a physician's assistant required long hours and frequent absences from home. Considering my situation, I realized that I had recently bought a spacious house with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Given my busy work schedule, it made sense to offer temporary housing to those in need. In my mind, they would use a guest room as a safe haven on their journey to stability. The empty space in my house seemed like an opportunity one had overlooked as I focused on my job. Additionally, I believed that doing a good deed might lead to positive outcomes in my own life. At 29, I was a single man facing dating challenges. Despite my efforts, the women I liked didn't reciprocate, and those I got along with turned out to be incompatible. Recognizing this, I decided to live alone and wait for the right person. With renewed determination, I volunteered to offer shelter to a family in need. When I offered to help, my pastor introduced me to a 28-year-old widow named Charlotte, who had lost her husband in the hurricane. She had 2 young daughters, aged 5 and 7, and their story deeply moved me. When I met Charlotte, my heart was touched, and we immediately connected. Her sincerity, kindness, and compatibility confirmed I had made the right decision. She and her children settled into my house quickly, and I ensured their comfort by buying new furniture, electronics, and groceries in the first few days. Work kept me busy, and I almost forgot about the people in my house. But the following morning, I returned from a business trip to a pleasant surprise. There was a soft knock on my bedroom door, and the smell of a freshly cooked breakfast filled the air. Opening the door, I was greeted by Charlotte's smiling face as she brought a tray of scrambled eggs, sizzling bacon, and a cup of hot coffee to the table. All irritation disappeared as I embraced the gesture with gratitude. Breakfast in bed, a cherished childhood memory, became a regular occurrence. She treated me with great care, even tying my shoelaces before I left for work. Her children were well-mannered and addressed me with respect, calling me Dad. I became attached to them and hoped to adopt them someday. They not only took care of me but also cleaned the house and cooked meals with the money I provided. Charlotte eventually got a job, showing her determination to be independent. Over time, she transformed from a guest into a family member in my house. We developed a strong bond, and I found myself deeply attached to her and her children. While I knew she wouldn't live with me permanently due to her job, I wished she could stay longer. The days passed quickly, and her presence became an integral part of my life. Our house radiated warmth and satisfaction when she and her children were around. Deep down, I understood that she would eventually gain independence and establish her own home. I wished her success and happiness, but the thought of her leaving stirred conflicting emotions in me. As our bond deepened, the chemistry and connection between us became evident. We found excuses to touch each other around the house, creating a strong attraction. Even simple moments like when she cooked in the kitchen and I stood behind her sparked desire. One evening, as we watched a late-night show and laughed together, she leaned over and rested her head on my shoulder, deepening our connection. Emotions took over, and we shared a passionate kiss, igniting further closeness on the couch. Since that night, she became more than a woman seeking refuge in my house. Our physical closeness grew, and I cherished every moment together. However, she still lived in the guest room, and the direction of our relationship remained uncertain. She had her doubts, and I respected her boundaries. In just 3 months, Charlotte landed a job as a cashier at the nearby grocery store, which marked a crucial step toward her independence. While I willingly shouldered the financial responsibilities, covering all the expenses, she used her earnings to support her children's kindergarten and buy clothes. It felt like a partnership built on mutual understanding, and I was prepared to help her as much as I could. I stood by her side, offering unwavering support as she worked to rebuild her life. As Christmas approached, I invited her and her kids to celebrate the holiday with my family, introducing her as my girlfriend. I was relieved when my mother warmly welcomed them. She cared deeply for Charlotte and her children. However, in private, my mother shared her concerns with me. She reminded me of her children from a previous relationship and suggested I consider finding a partner without such responsibilities. Her words made me contemplate the nature of our relationship. The challenges ahead were undeniable. This relationship was unlike any I'd encountered before. It involved not only our connection, but also the integration of her children into my life. Despite my mother's warnings, I couldn't ignore the deep bond between us and the love I had for Charlotte and her children. After a heart-to-heart conversation with my mother about my girlfriend and her children, I realized her worries stemmed from love. She only wanted what was best for me. I reassured my mother, acknowledging her care and guidance, but I couldn't disregard the profound love I found in this incredible woman and her children. I reminded her that she longed for me to be in a relationship, and now she appeared concerned about the added responsibilities. In my eyes, Charlotte was everything I ever dreamed of. She remained the same loving and compassionate person I met 4 months ago, without any major issues. She exemplified the qualities of a responsible and caring mother for her children, and I couldn't ask for more. Her inner and outer beauty continued to captivate me, and my love for her deepened every day. Her presence filled my life with positivity and rejuvenation, especially after returning from work trips. Being with her and her children brought me joy and happiness that felt surreal. Our connection was genuinely extraordinary, and I couldn't imagine my life without her. Despite the strong daily bond we shared, she consistently chose to sleep in the guest room. On one of these evenings, I mustered the courage to ask why she preferred not to spend the night in my bed. Her unexpected response made me feel guilty for bringing up such a sensitive topic. She delicately explained that she hadn't spent a night in someone else's bed since her late husband passed away. Her words carried both tenderness and pain, making me regret approaching the subject. I hugged her tightly at that moment, understanding the depth of her emotions. I realized she needed time and understanding to heal from the pain of her past. Recognizing this, I gladly gave her the space she needed. However, one evening upon returning home from work, a strange suspicion crept in again. I noticed that my beloved cashew nuts and malt from the refrigerator had been eaten. This puzzled me because Charlotte and her children had no interest in these snacks. In fact, Charlotte disliked them due to their high-calorie content. Since I knew she wasn't a fan of cashews and malt, it seemed unlikely that she was responsible for their disappearance. Rather than confront her about it, I decided not to make a big deal out of it. Yet curiosity got the better of me, and I jokingly asked her 7-year-old daughter, with whom I often exchanged playful banter. To my surprise, she mentioned a name I had never heard before and accused this mysterious man of being the snack thief. At first, I thought it was just another playful exchange, but her serious tone and detailed account caught me off guard. It was evident she wasn't joking. According to her, a specific person came to our house when I was away for work, even staying overnight with her mother. She expressed strong disapproval of this man, leaving me in shock. The underlying message in her words was incredible because the thought of Charlotte being unfaithful had never crossed my mind. I trusted her completely and couldn't fathom her being deceitful. A whirlwind of emotions, from disbelief to anger and eventually a headache, overwhelmed me as the truth unfolded. The weight of her daughter's words instilled undeniable certainty and drove me to search for concrete evidence. Driven by the need to uncover the reality of what transpired during my 3-day absence from work, I resorted to installing hidden cameras on the porch and in the living room, discreetly recording. I anxiously awaited my return, mentally preparing for the painful truth that awaited me. As I delved into the footage, the shocking truth lay bare before me. I witnessed a man coming to my house during my absence, brazenly spending the night with Charlotte. To make matters worse, he shamelessly indulged in my beloved nuts and malt, and even had the audacity to claim my chair. The sight of this uninvited guest assuming my role in the sanctity of my own home filled me with anger and a sense of betrayal. It was a painful truth to accept, realizing that Charlotte had deceived me in such a profound way. Following this heart-wrenching revelation, my heart shattered into pieces, and I felt like a complete fool for having placed such unwavering trust in her. The pain and devastation were too intense to immediately confront her. I needed time to process the betrayal and come to terms with the harsh reality that now loomed over our once loving relationship. I tried to understand why she had chosen to hurt me so deeply, considering that I had invested all my emotional and physical strength into our relationship. In the days that followed, my emotions were constantly in turmoil as I embarked on a journey of deep self-reflection. It was challenging for me to comprehend the person she had become and the reasons behind her betrayal. The strong love that once bound us was now broken. My mind kept replaying our shared moments, desperately seeking any hints of her deceit. But this only intensified my confusion and deepened the wounds of betrayal. Filled with disappointment and distrust towards women, I began mentally distancing myself from relationships. When I finally gathered the courage to confront Charlotte about the hidden camera recording, emotions overwhelmed me, creating a tense atmosphere. I called her into my room and suggested we watch the video. As we watched, tears streamed down her face, and she pleaded with me, admitting that this was not the way she wanted me to discover the truth. Overwhelmed with emotions, I insisted on knowing the identity of the man caught on the video. She explained that he was her ex-boyfriend from New Orleans, who had sought refuge in a shelter after surviving the devastating flood. I was taken aback when she disclosed that he would visit our house in my absence. My confusion deepened because I had believed her before when she claimed she had never been unfaithful. It became painfully clear that her words about loyalty to her late husband were fiction, as spending a night with another man shattered this illusion. This revelation cast doubt on other truths I held dear. As she continued revealing her secrets, it became apparent that she had become pregnant at a young age, but the father of her children abandoned her. When she explained why she lied about her husband's passing away, I was shocked to my core. She admitted she wanted to see how people treated the bereaved and craved the sympathy and support a widow received. At that moment, I was hit with a wave of bewilderment, realizing that the woman I had welcomed into my life and home was a stranger. The weight of betrayal crushed me, eroding trust and security in our relationship. Overcome by fear and uncertainty, I found the courage to make the painful decision to ask her to leave my house that evening. In the web of deceit she had spun, I could find no solace or peace because I could no longer hide the person responsible for such a web of lies. While the severity of her deception warranted immediate expulsion, a sense of responsibility for her 2 daughters tugged at my heart. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving innocent children without a roof over their heads, especially considering they had been ensnared in their mother's lies. Empathy compelled me to protect and care for them. It was with a heavy heart that I informed Charlotte she had to leave my house the next day, but I couldn't simply abandon the children to their fate. Instead, I made it my mission to secure their well-being. I made the firm decision to rent an apartment for an extended stay, providing them with temporary shelter and stability. My intent was driven solely by compassion for her daughters, devoid of any remnants of affection for her. If it had been just her, I wouldn't have hesitated to send her away the same evening. Watching them leave was emotionally challenging as I knew the sacrifices I had made to ensure a safe place for them. It served as a stark reminder of the depth of deception and its impact on innocent lives. I felt a heavy heart when I realized I had become emotionally attached to her daughters, viewing them as my own. They had become undeserving participants in this situation, and I couldn't accept that they would suffer the consequences of their mother's deceit. It was not an easy decision, but I believed it was the right one. Reflecting on the situation, I couldn't help but wonder if Charlotte's affection for me had been genuine or just another facet of her lies. The uncertainty weighed on me, but I took solace in the fact that I had uncovered the truth, however little comfort it offered me at the time. The thought of starting a family with someone who had deceived me sent shivers down my spine. I was immensely grateful that the truth had come to light, saving me from potential consequences in the future. I made a resolute decision to exercise caution in relationships, giving priority to honesty and transparency. This experience left me with a whirlwind of emotions, but also provided a valuable lesson on safeguarding my heart and making informed choices. I also asked for permission to see her daughters and spend time with them in parks. To my surprise, she agreed. As time passed, I continued to work diligently and tried to spend quality time with the girls, picking them up once a week and enjoying our moments together. One day, while dining at a cafe, her older daughter mentioned that her mother had been looking unwell and acting strangely. At first, I didn't think much of her words, but when she revealed that her mom was probably sick because she gave herself a daily injection in her leg, I was taken aback. It hit me, and I understood what this meant. I reassured the girl, telling her that her mom would get better soon. I didn't know how to protect the girls from their mother, who was using illegal substances, and I consulted with my mother. She advised me to report the situation to Child Protection Services, which I did. However, I didn't want the children to be left without warmth and love in a shelter, so I informed the Child Protection Services that I intended to adopt the girls, hoping for my mother's support. 6 months have passed since that day when Charlotte lost her parental rights. The girls spent about 2 months in a shelter, which deeply saddened me, but I managed to adopt the girls, and I felt joy. My mother supported my decision and provided all possible help in raising my newfound daughters. The journey of adopting Charlotte's daughters and raising them as my own brought new challenges and joys into my life. As a single father, I had to learn the intricacies of parenthood, from school routines to bedtime stories. The girls, Emily and Sophie, quickly adapted to their new life, bringing laughter and warmth into our home. Emily, the older of the two, was mature beyond her years. She helped her younger sister with homework and chores, and her resilience amazed me. Sophie, on the other hand, was a bundle of energy and curiosity. Her endless questions and playful nature kept me on my toes. Our bond grew stronger each day. I made it a point to attend their school events, cheer them on at soccer games, and spend quality time together on weekends. We explored parks, visited museums, and enjoyed simple moments like baking cookies or watching movies at home. These moments of togetherness helped heal the wounds left by their mother's betrayal. Despite the joy, there were moments of struggle. Balancing work and parenting was challenging, and I often found myself exhausted. There were nights when Sophie would wake up crying, missing her mother, and I had to comfort her, assuring her that she was loved and safe. Emily occasionally had bouts of anger and confusion, questioning why their mother had made the choices she did. I did my best to answer her questions honestly, while protecting her from the harshest truths. My mother's support was invaluable. She stepped in to help with the girls whenever I needed it, offering advice and a listening ear. Her wisdom and experience as a parent guided me through the toughest times. Together, we created a stable and loving environment for Emily and Sophie. Over time, the girls began to flourish. Emily excelled in school, winning awards for her academic achievements and leadership skills. Sophie's creativity shone through in her artwork and imaginative play. Their laughter and joy filled our home, turning it into a haven of love and happiness. As the years passed, I found myself reflecting on the journey we had been on. The pain of Charlotte's betrayal had faded, replaced by the profound love I had for Emily and Sophie. They were my daughters in every sense of the word, and I was grateful for the chance to be their father. Looking back, I realized that the twists and turns of life had led me to a place of unexpected fulfillment. The experience had taught me the importance of resilience, love, and compassion. It had shown me that even in the face of betrayal and heartbreak, it was possible to rebuild and find happiness. Today, as I watch Emily and Sophie grow into remarkable young women, I am filled with pride and gratitude. Our family, forged in the crucible of adversity, stands strong. The bonds we share are unbreakable, built on a foundation of love, trust, and mutual respect. Life's journey had taken an unexpected turn, but it had brought me to a place of profound contentment. I had found my true purpose in being a father to 2 incredible daughters. Together, we faced the future with hope and determination, ready to embrace whatever challenges and joys lay ahead. In the end, it wasn't the path I had envisioned, but it was the path that had led me to the greatest blessings of my life. And for that, I would be forever grateful.